Malawi Brief.
Dr. Feston Kaupa amene ndi nduna ya zachitetezo akuyikira nawo mboni pa zakafukufuku ya ngozi ya ndege imene inachitika ku Chikangawa. Iwowa kwenikweni akunena za ndondomeko mmene imakhalira yobwerekera ndege ku MDF pa nthawi yoti akuboma akafuna kuyigwiritsa ntchito. Ndipo mwa mafunso ena amene anafunsidwa munafunsidwa nkhani yokhuza na black box kuti ndi chifukwa chani ndege imeneyi inalibe black box. Ndipo iwowa ayankha zonsezi. We
hide under the curtain of national security. I like that you are able now to speak out that no, we are underfunded, we don't have this, we don't have this. Now, one of the TORs of this committee is to provide recommendations at the end of everything. Maybe before we give in the recommendations on how best we can support your ministry and your children of that's Army, Air Force and Navy. Can you share with this committee the inventory as to how many, even the marine equipment we have and that which we don't have, and those who are factional, most especially the plane. How many planes, how many helicopters we have? Can you?
Honourable Minister, you may take the question. If you cannot, then you may have to respond to the PS.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And I wish to thank Honourable Member from the Kasina. Indeed, cooperating fully with this committee, we will do. And as I mentioned, yes, this report can be shared. The ministry, or rather Malawi Defence Force, hiding under the curtain of security. I suppose, Honourable Chairperson, this also ought to be accepted because there are some matters that certainly we cannot be talking about them like right now here. As you mentioned, Honourable Chairperson, that this discussion is live wherever it is, YouTube and wherever. So I don't think it would be right and proper in the interest of national security to be talking some of these issues now. So that, having said that, I don't think it will also be proper for me to be saying, you know, your Malawi Air Force has got 0 aircraft that is operational. I don't think it would be proper. Neither would it be proper here, now that we are on air, to be saying what's the inventory of our Navy, what's the inventory of our Army, how many guns or rifles do we have. I don't think, Chairperson, with due respect, I don't think it would be proper for me to be disclosing such kind of details. Nonetheless, in the interest of this inquiry, if such kind of information is available, certainly I'll have to liaise with appropriate authorities to see what is it and to what extent can we share our security details, lest those security details land in wrong hands. I'm sorry to say this, Chair, but I think this, I believe the committee would also agree with me. So we have the inventory, yes, but Chairperson, I'm hesitant to start mentioning the sort of inventory that we have for our military. I thank you very much, Chair.
Yes, there's a question.
Chair, I fully understand the minister. As I said, is someone who I know very well, as very honest. I don't want to go into that kind of details. You have already started saying we have some planes which went for servicing, but they are yet to be back for a number of years because we haven't waited. You have already studied it. So I just want to confirm, do we have any operation, if we have any emergency today, do we have any operation plane under MDF which is in operation? I don't want you to go into details how many are they, and we don't know who do the gun, but do we have any plane which is in operation as we are speaking right now?
I think the Honourable Minister has already said he doesn't want to expose our strength and weaknesses to the enemy. So you're trying to get the answer in a different way. Probably we may have to swallow our pride for now and maybe allow him to answer other operational matters. But where our strength and weaknesses are concerned, he's very reluctant, and probably we should understand why. You asked him a very difficult question. but a very sensitive
Okay,
one.
Chair,
at the
Chair,
same
much
time.
obliged. I will withdraw it and
Okay.
let my honourable minister to proceed.
I think you can engage him offline.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Mwanza Central.
Thank you very much, Chair. Honorable Minister, just to also inform you that there are 2 reports that were done by MDF, and we have 1 report with us. It was submitted, but 1 is remaining. So I think the committee is talking about that other report. So probably when you're submitting the reports, to avoid you submitting what we already accessed, maybe you can provide us with 2 reports. Or maybe you check with the chair which one was presented to us, that probably, so that whatever you have should be a different report to the one that was submitted. Honorable Minister, I have several questions for you. I don't know whether, Chair, I should ask 1 question at a time, or I should engage the Honorable Minister. How should I proceed?
You can take 3 now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take 3. I'll ask 3 questions. Number 1, I want to know, Honorable Minister, where there is an accident of an MDF asset, what is your role as a minister? Number 2, in your office, did you find any documents, not the reports, but documents regarding the accident that happened? And if you found documents, what are those documents? Number 3, you are, in your submission, you are saying there is a chain of reporting, which is general. But I want to find out where there is an accident, what is the chain of reporting? Who reports what to who? Maybe let me stop there for now, Chair. I have 3 more remaining.
Lilongumude.
Chair, thank you so much. I hope the minister will be able to respond to all these questions because I have, I think I have 2 substantial questions. But, Honorable Minister, the Ministry of Defense was established in 1993, and the key role or mandate is on formulation and implementation of defense policies. And you have mentioned that the defense policy is in a draft form. Would you confirm that there is no any defense policy from 1993 to date? Number 1. Number 2, your presentation on slide number 4, the last sentence, says the Ministry of Defense receive regular reports and briefings on the status, utilization, maintenance, and operational readiness of aviation assets to ensure accountability and effective resource management. You receive regular reports. Number 1, would you share these reports that you have been receiving? That's my first question. And my second question is, in your analysis, because I believe when you went into the ministry and the PS, you looked at these regular reports. There is a question about black box, why the aircraft did not have the black box. I'll put it in that plain civilian language. is there any recommendation in your ministry telling Malawi Defense Force to actually acquire a black box and put in these aircrafts because they came without it? That's what we hear from the report from BFU and the Commission of Inquiry. Was there any recommendation, because that's what your ministry does, was there any recommendation to Malawi Defense Force to acquire voice recorders and black boxes and put them in that aircraft because it was a VVIP aircraft as well? My last question, Honorable Minister, is just to get a confirmation if you have seen any documentation in your office of the ministry being informed about the acquiring or the acquiring of the flight by the late former vice president, because we just want to understand the policy guidelines on when the VVIP request an aircraft from MDF. Do they need to report or inform your ministry about it? Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
Honourable Minister, you may take questions from those two submissions, those two witnesses.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members. I wish to thank Honourable Member for Mwanza Central and also Honourable Member for Lilongwe Mude. From Mwanza Central, 2 reports from MDF. In as far as I'm concerned, there is just 1 report. I don't know about 2 reports. So the report that I have, just like you said, that if I can share with this, I think there was a mention to say, okay, whether I need to check with the chair, whether the report that I have is the same one that the chair has, but I don't have any problem to submit the report that I have so that the chair can also check whether it's the same one that he has, to avoid circumstances where maybe I might be withholding the report that I have, and yet the report that the chair has perhaps is the second one or is the first one, depending on whichever is the first one, whichever is the second one. But I wish to confirm that I have 1 report, and working with the Malawi Defense Force says there is 1 report. So is this one I'm ready to share with the committee, Honourable Chairperson and members.
Yes, what's the point of order?
Chair, I just wanted to really emphasize the idea that we know there are 2 reports which were made confidential, and this committee is interested. So the first one was from MDF, but the other one was from Civil Aviation. So I just wanted to highlight, according to the presentation by the Minister of Justice. Thank you, Chair.
So the report from Civil Aviation does not fall under the purview. That will be pursued separately. But I'm aware about the background where Mwanza Central is coming from. There is an allegation that there was a report that was issued within a week after the plane crashed. Okay, it was a very brief report. That's an allegation. Okay, that brief report was never circulated. So apart from the actual detailed report that we have, that Parliament was served with, we have a full dossier that we have been served with. It hasn't been made available to the members for security reasons. Okay, but Parliament has that full dossier, that full comprehensive report. But I think he's making a reference. He's trying to clarify. There was a preliminary report. There is a preliminary report that was provided to Parliament, and that report was made available to some members, and members were asked, if you wanted to access the report, you can come to Parliament, they would make it available. That was made very clear. So those that had time would come to Parliament, read it, and make it, and then they would acquaint themselves with that particular official report. So that's where Mwanza Central is coming from. Yeah, just to clarify that misunderstanding. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chair. I appreciate it for that clarification. But let me just go back and say that indeed I have 1 report, and I'm more than ready to share that report with this committee. The second one was the role of the minister in the event of an accident. Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, if I may take you back to slide on the slide that talks about air safety. That's slide number 9. It should be section number 9, air safety and accident investigation procedures, where I've outlined the procedures that is followed. So when we are looking at all this, I reported that in the event of an aircraft accident, the procedures that we follow include immediate reporting through the military chain of command. So the military chain of command is whoever was responsible for that activity, they will have to report back through the line of command within the military, up to the minister, up to the chief of defense force, the minister, and even up to the commander-in-chief. Again, the issue of preservation of evidence, obviously this now would be the responsibility of those that would be responsible for the actual, whoever would be available at the site of the, of the event, and of course the investigations that have got to be carried out. So what I would like to emphasize is adherence to the line of command. As you might appreciate that that's how the military operates. So you not expect anyone, any Jim and Jack to report about an aircraft accident without necessarily, within the military, following the line of command. So that's what has got to be adhered to until the same is reported to the minister as well as to the commander-in-chief. The documents, if there are any in my office, I think the honorable member from Mwanza Central says that apart from the reports, if I come across any documents related to the accident, I would like to say no. I haven't seen any other piece of paper or document that talks about this accident besides the reports that I've made mention of. The chain of reporting, I suppose, again, this is about the chain of command with regard to reporting an accident, which I've already responded to. Coming to Lilongwe Mude, no defense policy since 1993 to date. Perhaps I'll take that with a caveat that I did mention that I'll start with the Defense Force Act, and not necessarily with the establishment of the Ministry of Defense, because the defense policy that we are talking about is hinging on the Defense Act, and the Defense Act hinges more on the Malawi Defense Force. And I did mention that the Defense Force Act is that of 2023. So I will not be talking about absence of a defense policy since 1993, which is the establishment year for the Ministry of Defense. I would rather be talking about defense force or lack of defense policy from 2023, because the defense policy will be riding on the Defense Force Act. I did mention earlier on that from the Defense Force Act, we'll be talking about the Defense Force regulations and, of course, the Defense Force, in fact, the defense, not Defense Force policy, but rather defense policy. So, Honorable Chairperson, I would like to confirm that I would rather be talking about absence of a defense policy since 2023 and not necessarily since 1993.
Yes, yes.
Chair, the Defense Force Act of 2023 was a replacement of another Defense Force Act that was there. So there was a Defense Force Act before 2023, but because the amendments were many, then there was that parliamentary procedure. You don't just repeal one or two. If there are many, then you replace it. So it was there before 2023. Thank you, Chair.
In other words, Honorable Minister, the question is, do we have a defense policy in Malawi as we stand?
Chair, as I mentioned earlier, on, that we don't have a defense policy as we speak now. There is one that is being developed and is in draft form, which we expect to finalize before close of this year. But thank you so much, Honorable Member for Lilongwe for that clarification, and indeed that that clarification that has been made.
Yes, there's a man.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted if you can clarify if your ministry has a policy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chair, I wanted the minister to be straightforward through Chair, because when we keep saying by the end of this year, are we saying January to December, or we are talking about the financial year, the calendar year which we use at the Parliament, where it started from 1st April to 31st March next year, so that we should be specific on that one.
Some members would like to know the plan of action. What's your plan of action on the policy?
Thank you very much, Chair. When we're talking about the policy and the conclusion of the same, we are talking about the calendar year. That's by December 2026. The question to say, do we have the ministry policy? Chairperson, let me clarify that when we talk about the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Defense, sitting where I am, there is very small defining or differentiating line between Ministry of Defense and the Malawi Defense Force. Because the Ministry of Defense, I would say, exists just for the Malawi Defense Force. So when we are talking about the defense policy, there would be a very small line differentiating the defense policy as that of the Ministry of Defense and that of the Malawi Defense Force. Because unlike other ministries, for the Ministry of Defense, we deal with the Malawi Defense Force only. So when we'll be developing, as we're developing this policy, we are developing a policy that will be working for both the Ministry of Defense as well as the Malawi Defense Force. Because this is a national defense policy, so to speak. And I must also say, Chair, having this, that the members of this committee may wish to know that besides the defense policy, we are also talking about the national security policy, which exists. So the national security policy is different from the national defense policy, because the national security policy now talks about all the different securities that you can imagine: food security, health, environment, and everything else, inclusive of the national security. So we have a policy, national security. What we are talking about here is the defense policy. The black box, with your permission, Chair, if I can go back to Lilongwe, the black box. Any recommendation to acquire the black box? Yes, Chair, recommendation. I think everybody agrees that with the 10 June 2024 accident, there are so many lessons that we have learned as a country, sadly, acquiring these lessons through an accident. Because I suppose just as the committee might have established that, as Lilongwe has said, this committee has learned that the aircraft never had a black box for some particular reasons, but it has been noted that it is very important to have black box for obvious reasons. I'm also aware, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson and members, that when we are talking about black boxes and military aircrafts, particularly state aircrafts, there are also some conventions that do not make the black box being available in such kind of aircrafts. I think we're talking about Chicago Convention on civil aviation that do not make the black box be mandatory on state aircrafts. However, with what happened, and of course also considering, because the black boxes don't come at a small price, they also come at a small price. So it would be important going forward to consider having these black boxes even in the state aircrafts, even in the military aircrafts. I know Lilongwe for his previous life, that he knows the reasons why the state aircrafts don't have a black box. There are some specific reasons. Again, with your under-agency chair, and I hope even Lilongwe will permit me not to get into those details, but I think the lessons that we've learned through this accident, it would be very, very necessary to consider having black boxes in the military aircrafts for obvious reasons. Confirmation of any documents on acquiring on how the aircraft was acquired by the late Vice President. I would like to confirm, Honorable Chairperson, that I haven't seen any document that indicates how the Vice President acquired usage of this aircraft. Let me stop there, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Lower Kasangazi and then Kasungu North. We probably will wind up with Mulanje North.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Zomba as well. Sorry. And then I have Zomba City South.
Thank you very much, Chair, for giving the people of Lower Kasangazi a chance to ask some questions. I have two questions for the Honorable Minister. The first question is on the fact that we are told that whenever the Vice President would like to acquire an aircraft from the military, the President of the Republic as Commander-in-Chief has to approve. I would like to know, Honorable Minister, if you are aware of this requirement and if the Ministry of Defense is involved in that process. That's the first question. The second question is on the fact that we have been told that the aircraft that was involved in the accident in 2024 was acquired around 1986, and that it was 40 years old, around 40 years old. I would like to know if your ministry has plans to acquire new aircrafts. Thank you very much, Chair.
Kasungu North.
Thank you, Chair. Kasungu North has got only one question to ask the Honorable Minister. My question is, what formal or informal defense cooperation arrangements exist between Malawi and neighboring countries regarding aviation emergencies? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Minister, you may take those two submissions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. Honorable member for Kasangazi is saying that I suppose we are informed is this committee, or is this committee is informed that the VP, when the VP would want to hire an aircraft, would need approval from the President, who is the Commander-in-Chief. So as I mentioned again, Chairperson, I will take you back to my presentation where I presented the procedures that are followed when hiring the aircraft, which is on number 7.